We will now consider the idea of work. When it comes to work, what we can look at is something as simple as somebody pushing an object across the floor. In this case, we would see that a force is applied horizontally, and because we're pushing it, we're also going to see that the displacement is in the same direction. Another situation that we could look at would be placing a crate on a ramp. If the crate's on the ramp and we wanted it to go down the ramp at a constant speed, one of the ways that we could do this is we could apply a small force up the ramp. This would allow it to slide down the ramp, and we can see in this case the force and the displacement are in opposite directions. We could also look at something like carrying a book around a room. In order to hold the book, we need to apply a vertical force to oppose gravity, but if we're moving around the room, the displacement will be horizontal. And then we can also look at something like carrying that same object up the stairs. And so if we're going to carry the object up the stairs, we're going to see again, we need to hold it up, so we're applying an upwards force that opposes gravity. But now our displacement is going to be along the length of the stairs. So we want to define work. Work is going to be measured in joules. And the equation that we're going to use to do this is going to tell us that the work done on an object is equal to F dot D, the force dotted with the displacement. This means we take the magnitude of F multiplied by the magnitude of the displacement multiplied by the angle between the two forces. So if we go back and consider our four cases, in case 1, we would see that the force would have been in the positive x direction, the displacement would have been in the positive x direction, so the angle between those would be 0. In case 2, we would have seen the force up the ramp, we would have seen the displacement down the ramp, and so we see that the angle between those would be 180 degrees. In case 3, we would see that the force is up, the displacement is to the right, and so we have a 90-degree angle between those. And in the last case, we again had an upwards force, but now because we were going up the stairs, we would have the displacement that would be at an angle that would give us something between 0 and 90 degrees depending on the staircase. So now if we look at these, we can see that in the first case, we would have an angle of 0, which would give us a maximum positive amount of work. In the second case, because the cosine of 180 is -1, we get a maximum negative amount of work. In the case of carrying the book, because we have a 90-degree angle, we end up with 0 work, because the cosine of 90 is 0. And finally, in the case of going up the stairs, we're going to have some amount of positive work,